And I'm really excited today to deep dive with Kate Chiffey Gray. And Kate was one of my first guests on my podcast when I was running that a couple of years back. And seeing her then, like, it was like she was at that cracking open blossom stage. There she is now. And Kate, I'll bring you in a second, beauty. And then I've had the honour and the privilege of watching Kate on her journey over this last couple of years since that interview, and just watching her fully expand into the ownership of herself and into making huge impact on this planet. Kate has had an amazing past. She has experienced drugs, death, so many different things in her life that has brought her to where she is today. So I'm not going to go into those things with her today, that we may touch on them, but her story in itself is extraordinary. And the fact that she's here on the planet is also extraordinary. Kate takes beautiful souls, conscious leaders across the globe on ancient awakening retreats, and she takes them to beautiful destinations to deep dive with plant medicines and psychedelics. So I'm really excited to, hey Anita, hey Lana, great to have you ladies on. I can see a few more of you on as well, good morning. So Kate does that, and she takes people on these amazing journeys across the country, and I'm so excited to deep dive with her today. So let me bring her on, and I'm hoping that I won't need headphones. Give me a second. Kate, hang on. Where's the way? Okay, there we go. Oh, third time lucky. Let me get your name in. Invite. There we go. Okay, come in. All right, let's see how.
Yay!
Hey, Heidi.
Hello. Good morning.
Oh,
so good to see you.
You too. My soul just lights up. Oh, so much love for you.
Wow, you too. This is exciting. Thank you for that introduction. That was amazing.
Oh, you're so welcome. Your story is just incredible, and it's such an honor to share space with you, and to, what's been happening behind the scenes with us. It's been really beautiful meeting you in person a few months back, and then just this morning it's like Kate mentioned something in our chat, and I'm like, boom, this has been landing for me, and we just haven't even spoken about it yet, but it's like co-creation potentially early next year with something exciting. So
yes. So good.
All right, I just want to check. Can everyone hear me okay and it's not crackly? Can you hear me okay, Kate, without it being crackly?
Perfect. It's not crashly at all.
Amazing. Usually if I don't have my headphones in, it crackles, and I'm like, ooh, we get 20%. I'm not willing to give it a risk.
No, totally.
So I felt like, if people want to know your story, they can connect in your page, they can connect in on your website, they can watch some of your videos. Today I really wanted to get into, like, who Kate is. What lights you up? What brings you the most joy? You've had such a big past, and
my dogs, I'm in the lounge room, so these are one thing that do light me up, except I'm in the lounge room and it's their territory and they're playing noisily. Oh my god.
I just need my cat to come in and we'll be fine.
Oh, it'll be perfect. Sorry, continue.
No stories ever. It's perfect. That's something lights up, right? Perfect on cue.
Yeah, totally on cue. They know.
Lana's like, I have that problem too. I love it. My cat comes in sometimes. You get a bum in the picture sometimes.
I love it. They're amazing. Animals light me up, and humans, like, just existence.
Yeah, you have a special way with you, Kate. Like, being in, we've journeyed across social media and interviewed 2 years ago, it's been, roundabout, just a little bit more. And followed each other's journeys and whatnot, and have connected on social media for so long now. And we finally met in person a couple of months back, and there's this presence in you that is unique and rare, where you can see that you emanate so much love for every human in the room. You're so present, and you're so honoring of each soul. And I would love you to share about that, like what that is for you, why it's important for you.
For sure. Well, I feel like when you've touched the depths of your own suffering to the point where, like, there were times in my life I was in so much physical, emotional and psychological pain, and I didn't know where to go or what to do, and I had to face off with that by myself. I think that kind of gives you just a strong sense of gratitude for life and for existence, and you cultivate compassion for human beings because you know they're suffering.
Do you find that, so for those of you that aren't familiar with Kate's work, Kate deep dives a lot with ayahuasca, and it's a journey I've been on as well. Kate, for me, something that happened when I journeyed with ayahuasca, when I was in Peru in November last year, in my first session, it was so full on, and I stopped, like I could feel all of humanity's pain. It was like just shown, it was like all these synapses interlinked with where I was sitting, and I was shown the whole planet, and I was like, in that moment, it was like, do I even want to do this? Like, if my mission is just to love on humans, I'm like, in that moment, I was like, I don't think I can do this.
Yes.
Did you get that? Was that your first time?
Yeah. So yes, and I've had so many. I've had so many that yes, and I've had others as well, which have been terrifying and the opposite to feeling love and connection. I felt suffering, and I felt the fear of the death and eradication of humanity as well. So I've felt all of them, but plant medicine definitely brings you into a sense of oneness, because I think our conditioning, due to safety reasons, as you know about so well because you're an expert in this stuff, it wants to keep us separate and compartmentalized and conditioned into this little, like, only seeing what we're conditioned to see based on past. So when you sit with the medicine, all of a sudden you transcend logic and conditioning, and you realize, oh my God, I am everyone and everyone is me. Oh shit, wow. And that just brings a deep level of compassion, because you realize your healing's their healing, and it's a lot to bear. Like you just said, sometimes you go, oh, am I up for this? I don't know.
Yeah. And you touched on something really important there. It's like, and it's something that I love, is that we are all interconnected, and it's the way I choose to live too, because I know that people are a mirror for me. I choose kindness each and every single time. It doesn't matter to me what you've done, where you've come from, what's happened in your life. It's like, I know how I treat me is going to be a reflection of how I treat you, and I always choose kindness.
Yes, always, because it's always possible, right? There's that quote from the Dalai Lama that stayed with me forever. I think he said it like 15 years ago, and it was like, choose kindness whenever possible. It's always possible. Always.
Always. Yeah, always.
Yes, it's just, and I was gonna say, it's just a nicer way to live your life. Like, why would you not want to be happy and grateful? And because we do get to choose. And I think sometimes when we're in the trudges of our own suffering, we forget that. But when you come up for air and you go, oh, hang on a minute, I'm choosing this, why would you not choose kindness?
Yeah, I'm with you 100% that way. It's something that baffles me. And yes, I may have studied it, and yes, it may be my jam, understanding the way that the mind works and understanding how people are wired. And I still cannot fathom, even though I've got the logic, I still cannot fathom how there is so much non-kindness in the world, how everybody wants to be loved, everybody wants to be appreciated and seen, everybody wants to feel connected, yet there's so much disconnection and hatred and anger to each other. It's like,
yeah, totally. It's like, sometimes I wonder if it's there so we can understand compassion and love, because without the duality, maybe Murphy's getting really wanting to get a lot of love this morning. Buddy, you have to go over there. He's like right up in my face.
So cute.
Buddy. Yeah, so sometimes I think it's the duality, like we get to see like what love and light is, because without the suffering we wouldn't be able to see that. And I also hurt people, right? Like, and unfortunately some of the people that rule this world and are in control of the governmental systems, they hurt people, so they're inflicting it on a global scale, and people are suffering.
That's why I love the work you do, Kate.
Thank you.
I love what you do. So I would, as mentioned, if you're just jumping on, hello to each and every single one of you. It's so great to have you all join us, Facebook fam. So much love and gratitude. This is great for those of you that may not have had the privilege of meeting this woman yet. Amazing woman. Kate takes beautiful souls. I was supposed to go in December last year, and I got really sick. I wasn't able to go to Vanuatu. And Kate takes beautiful souls on these ancient awakening retreats to deep dive with plant medicines and with psychedelics. Kate, in the work that you do and the caliber of people that you take with you, I understand it. I would love for you to share with the audience why, like, that calling for you and why it's important for you for other leaders to live this way and to explore plant medicines and psychedelics and the effect that's happening and the ripple effect.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, very much like the reason that I'm so drawn to working with other leaders, and leaders can be literally, it doesn't have to be somebody who's an entrepreneur necessarily. It can be someone who's a teacher, or someone who, one day I'm hoping this will happen, a police officer or a politician or a lawyer or a doctor, or like a mum who's the leader in her family home, like somebody who has influence on other people. Because as I said, your healing is my healing's their healing. By healing them, we're able to change the context of hundreds of other people's lives that they're touching on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And why that's important is that the change has to come from there. Excuse me one moment. This is actually getting a little crazy in here. Hang on one. I have...
Right.
Just give me a sec. Daisy.
Yeah, go for it.
Daisy.
I've got road tracks happening outside.
Go. Go, Daisy.
Hello to everyone. It's great to have you all on this morning with us. And deep dive with Kate. So much fun. They're so cute.
Thank you. They're so funny. My assistant, I think, was watching upstairs and she's come and got them. Thank you. They're like terribly naughty. They're just woken up.
I've just had, I think we're getting the driveway ripped up. There's some works going on. And they just start, and I'm like, what? Phone silly flat, wasn't on charge. Your dog's coming in for a play.
I know. It's chaos, life. Right? It's the chaos. Exactly. It's perfect. So what was I talking about? So conscious leaders, because or leaders of any description, they have impact and influence on the lives of others. And I truly believe that for this work to have the rapid effect that it really feels aligned to have, because the earth is in deep suffering right now and the medicine is calling out really loudly to be used in this way, for us to have the rapid impact that I know that it's come here to have, it just makes sense to work with people that can have a greater influence, and there's a follow-on effect, because one of our values is contribution. So we feel by working with leaders, that's an element of us contributing to the whole wellness of society and the people that they touch in their everyday lives. Yeah, it's huge. Like Gary Vee, like, you know, I just went and did a thing with him, and he hasn't sat with plant medicine, and I don't think he ever will. He doesn't even meditate, because he's like, I don't want to mess my mind up, but you know, I've got 6 months with him, so maybe I can chip away. But the
I'll
thing
come
being,
on that retreat, Kate.
Yeah, totally right. Yeah, for sure. He has a chief heart officer in his business, and her job is to weave empathy and compassion through one of the largest digital marketing companies of the world. So that is the kind of stuff that, you know, we're talking about, that if we can have an impact on that level, imagine, I think there's like 800 employees at Vayner in New York, and each one of them is experiencing some level of kindness, compassion, presence, being seen in their workplace. Like that's where it's at. That then follows onto their families, their children, their parents, you know, their dogs, everyone in their life. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's something that words cannot describe until you experience plant medicine yourself. I haven't experienced other psychedelics yet. It would have been my first trip to do that with you, and I'm excited to deep dive into some others as well. For me, ayahuasca was, she called. Like, we hear this, right? It's a calling. It's not like you're, I don't know. But for me, it was like she just tapped, tap, 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 tap. And it's like, okay, I didn't know anything about what she did. Yeah. I didn't know anything about, like, the details of, I knew who I was sitting with. I think, you know, make sure who you sit with is reputable as well, just for those who may be, you know, wanting to deep dive into that space. And I feel like she's just so loud, and you know. And then when she's ready for you again, and when she's ready for you again, I feel like she's like a bit bossy sometimes.
100%, 100%. Yep, she is. It is a tap, tap, tap. And it gets louder the longer you take to pay attention as well, until it becomes like a massive booming like knock, and you just get beaten over the head and you go, oh, okay, it's time to sit again. Thank you.
Yeah. I said I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back to where I was in in Peru, and it's like a few months back, it's like, okay, going back to Peru. I'm like, what? What? No. Okay. So then the wheels are in motion for that, and I know when the timing's right, that it'll be like, now you go.
Perfect.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yes.
So let's go into a little bit of one of my favorite topics, and one of your favorite topics that a lot of people cringe at and a lot of people find uncomfortable, which I find amazing. And I feel like if you find some uncomfort in it with anything that Kate and I talk about in this, great. Lean in on that. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about
money,
the importance and the beauty and the amazingness of money.
Yeah, it's money, I feel like, is one of the biggest blocks for the spiritual community and actually making a difference in the world. Because there's this narrative that is made it, evil, or made it a part of like an unconscious system, when, we've forgotten the basis of all existence is everything came from source. So everything on its like most base level is neutral, and it's a story that we collectively and individually give something that then creates its personality, so to speak. And for some reason, money, because it's such a huge part of this system, that when you wake up, you all of a sudden go, oh, well, I'm not this system anymore. And instead of actually working with the system to dismantle it, we start rejecting it. And from that place of rejection, we create wounding, and we become paralyzed, and we can't actually make a difference in the world. And so money is funny. I was saying to you before, whenever I speak about psychedelics, no one hates on me. When I speak about money, people hate on me. When I speak about money and psychedelics together, there's a barrage of hate. Like, oh my God, it's like a tidal wave. I'm like, whoa, okay, this is something
Not
here.
today.
Perfect. And it's okay if it's totally okay as well.
Contrast, right?
Yeah, totally. But it's an asset. It's a tool. Nothing is innately evil or unconscious. Everything is simply a tool. How we intend to use it is where the unconscious or conscious derives from. And anything that feeds into separation and rejection of the what is, I feel, is just another egoic trick to keep us stuck. Acceptance of all things is freedom.
And money, so fascinating. When I had no money, there was this constant thought of, I've got no money. How am I going to pay for that? Like, always there. And I know a lot of my clients, well, actually every single person I've ever worked with on any level, in any part of my business, has had stuff with money. And whether you've got a lot of money or not, people want money. It's like, I think it's our birthright to have it. Why not live incredible lives? Whether you want to live in a fancy house or whether you want to donate to charities, it's irrelevant. Whatever you want is absolutely perfect for you. And I think what I noticed was when I went from having no money to having money rolling in, it was like, that stopped. The thought process around I haven't got money stopped, and it was this massive aha moment for me, because I went into this, well, what now? Because my life had been my thoughts, which I think it's almost the number one dominant thought for nearly every person is money. Because we define ourselves by what we do or don't have, right? Until you have money. And then it's like, I think then there's a shift for most people, maybe not everyone, but for conscious people, there's a shift in being able to use that for good. And what I found fascinating was I came to that point where it's like, well, what now? And it was no longer about money. It was about, well, what can I do and how can I live my life?
Correct.
And how can I support others? And what can I do for the mission and the vision? Like, things expanded. And I find when we're in the not making enough for whatever stories, whatever societal bullshit stories are there for us, it's like we contract, right? And so that's all we're focusing on. Haven't got. And it's such a beautiful thing, and it's taken me a long time to get to a point where I can look at a bank balance, and like I can invest in a lot, and then I can see my bank balance go down, and it's like, okay, cool, it's just in the moment. And thank you for me being able to invest in what I've just invested in. And it's like having that, to be able to have that trust, to no longer have, I'll say just a head fuck on it of, oh, I don't, like it's going down, what happens? It's so nice to be free from that. It's so nice to know that, and this goes for everyone, I'll speak from myself, I'm always looked after.
Yes,
that if I keep following my path, I'm always looked after. The money is always in my bank account. And it's also the belief system, right? So what we believe gets to be, and it's such an interesting journey, the money journey.
Totally.
And I love it.
Oh, me too. And I think money is an amplifier of where we're actually at. Like, I had a dinner party the other night and somebody said to me, like, I love taking conscious people into the casino to see their reaction to things. I was like, oh, he's like, because I believe that, you know, our reaction to money is exactly where we're at on our spiritual path. And I was like, fuck, that is brilliant. I'm like, right, next retreat is in a casino. It's like, that is so good. And it's beautiful though. Like it's an amplifier, and the medicine helped me really land the money stuff. Like I remember a toad journey where I think I might have shared this with you. I asked for the truth. And firstly, you disappear completely and there's no you and there's nothing but experiencing itself. It's almost like death. And then you're, the 5-MeO-DMT.
Yeah.
Yeah, the God molecule. So first you disappear and there's no you, but as you're coming back and I guess your personality or identities, the fragments are coming back in, you begin to witness things. And what I saw was me as an energetic body standing on an energetic cliff. Everything was energy, like binary code. And I was standing like this, and there was energy emanating off my body. And the energy that was emanating off my body was building the world around me. And that for me was like, okay, like, yes, I've known this here, but now I get this here. And I was like, cool, we create our reality. Why are we choosing to believe one of scarcity, lack, and separation, and hate, and resistance? Like, that makes no sense. It's a cosmic joke. We're going to die and literally go like this. I can't believe that I created that shitstorm for myself, because all along the joke is I got to choose. So that's why I think that the hate that is permeating around money through the conscious community is literally almost like something that's been dropped in there to stop us from actually making huge change. Because with currency, with money, we can make conscious change. Imagine if the 1% of the world were conscious leaders. The 1% that had 99% of the wealth. Imagine if they were conscious leaders. What could we do? It would be extraordinary. Yet we're all chasing our tails, judging money and people who have it and calling them, I don't even remember the names I get called, but and judging on them rather than going, how can I work within this paradigm to dismantle it? Because the current reality of things is money is proximity, money is power, money is influence. That's just how it is right now. Denying that just causes you suffering. It's cray.
I'm like, yeah.
It's like, me too. Like, I love it. It's, yeah. Gosh, I just wish I want to help more in this area. And I never thought I'd be talking about this either, by the way. I never thought I'd be the person talking about money. This is hilarious to me.
It's so good. Didn't you say I was a catalyst as well for that for you?
Yes, you were. Because when you started coming out and you're talking about money and wealth and creating wealth and abundance, like, it really was a permission slip for me to accept that money and spirituality were one and the same. Like, I knew it, but you were like, what the message you were bringing was the embodiment of that. And it was an example for me to go, cool, okay, I can do this too. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Huge catalyst. Yay. Now we're here talking about money.
Who would have thought it? I just love, this is a way that I live my life as well, is that we never know anything more than what we know. We see a speck, right? And we can fall into the drama of it, or we can fall into the my life's terrible, or whatever it is about the speck in the moment of time. And then when a couple of years pass and you have a look at everything that's gone along on the line, like I look at it, and our journey's different. I just look at when we first met to the first interview, to seeing both of our growth separately, to then connecting on social media. It's like, I feel like I've known you my whole life. I feel like we have such a beautiful connection. And from that, it's like, well, what happens next year? And where do we find ourselves then? Like, there's already conversation about, Sunshine Coast.
Yes.
So we have our first Conscious Leaders Sunshine Coast event on tomorrow night. And Conscious Leaders is a little different to your typical networking event, your typical event, typical get together, however you want to word it. And for our next one, Kate's coming from the Gold Coast to the Sunshine Coast to share her message at our event. I'm so excited and honoured to have
Me too. I'm excited. Yes, I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
So even that, it's like Kate is good friends with Kezia, who is part of the Conscious Leaders. And then Kate is in there in some capacity, way, shape or form with the Conscious Leaders. And then through that, now I'm doing Conscious Leaders. And now Kate's going to be a guest speaker. And then this morning it's conversation around co-creation, collaboration. It's like, where does the journey go? Just from one conversation years back of, I don't even know how we met on social media.
I have no idea.
See that? Doesn't matter.
Perfect. It doesn't. It's perfect. And I feel like this is what's happening, right? Like the Together We Rise, like that hashtag is really popular right now because it's actually a reflection of what's happening, and this idea of, we can't fight each other anymore. Like there's enough for everybody, no one's in competition. Like that is really where we're evolving to. And I think healing our relationship with money will be a part of that, because if we're working on collaborations and healing our relationship with each other and not being in competition, yet we still have this rejection of money, we're incongruent. So healing that at the same time, and then all of us rising together, like every single person on the planet rising together, not just us who are in the work, I mean every single person. That's the way we're moving forward.
So exciting.
It's amazing. Yes.
Sweaty. There was a question that comes through from Kat, and I wanted to address that, Kat, and then Kate will get your take on it as well. So Kat said, how do you keep that belief stable when it's super low on money? That's where I still flip into survival. So I'd love to just share first, Kat, and then I'll get Kate's take on this.
Please.
One thing that I've been learning through my work with Gabby, so Gabby's my mentor. I've invested to work with her for 12 months, and she's all about frequency, and like, oh man, she just blows my mind with where she's at as a human and what she's been through to get to where she is right now. And in what I've learned from her is that it's your vibration is what gets you there to where you want to go, and your frequency is what holds you there. And so with the terminology, your frequency is your currency. It's like, if you can maintain a frequency, it doesn't mean, this is my take on this, it's just some of Gabby's, and then my take on this is, if you focus your every day on keeping your frequency at an elevated state, you may have death happen around you, you may have unexpected things happen around you, you may experience a breakup, you might experience just daily stuff that happens for each and every single one of us, and you might experience emotion, which is normal because you're living in a human body. So it's okay to cry, and it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to express yourself in different ways, and to have moments where you feel like life's just not going the way that you desire it. And it's possible to keep the frequency high at the same time. It doesn't mean you have to disconnect. You might your vibration might drop a little, and your frequency can hold state, and that's a whole other topic for us that we can dive into. But it's like the number one focus for what Gabby teaches, what I've chosen to adopt, is every single day to make the vibration and the frequency the number one. Because when the frequency and the vibration becomes number one, and you are elevated at that point, whatever you have to do, whether it's stories around money, do something about that. Like whatever you need to do for yourself. For years, I listened to Abraham money meditations. For years, to switch me out of my lack mentality and switch me into my abundance mentality. I also had this process that I did, and I'll share this because some people might get some value from this as well, is I got this from Regan Hillier actually a few years back. It's what does the highest version of myself look like in regards to money? And then writing that out as far as you can see. If you were living your ideal life, what does that look like, and what's your relationship with money? So like example, first few lines, the highest version of myself in regards to money. I am a self-made multi-billionaire. For me, it used to be a millionaire. Now I'm like, boom, let's go billionaire. Like it's possible, right? So self-made multi-billionaire. The more money I make, the more money I make. The more money I make, the more impact I have. And then you just keep going, and you can put in like, where do you live? How do you travel? What's your tolerance for, everything in your life? And by writing that out and getting clear with that, you put something into your field, goes into your vortex. And then every single time I would go into lack state, this is the key part, right? It's all good and well to write it out. The key part is every single time I would catch myself, and that in itself is a process until it becomes a norm. Going into lack, I would go, hang on a second, what does the highest version of myself look like in regards to money? And from that moment, I could not be, and no one can be, in a state of abundance and lack at the same time. And by looking at the highest version of self, you're in abundance. And if you have to do that 100 times a day, which I did about 100
times a day for a very long time. It's like, so be it. You're rewiring your neural pathways. When your neural pathways are focused on a point where you're living in lack, you're going to continue that way. So you got to shake it up. You have to do something. Kate can't give it to you. I can't give it to you. That's a journey that you get to take. We can support, we can guide, we can be here as shining lights in that, and then you get to take the action for that. And it's a daily commitment, in my opinion. Kate, what's your opinion?
Yeah, all of that. So what you said, amazing, 100%. And it's interesting. I feel like I do that naturally by default. I've always been a really good dreamer. I'm very creative. My mind, sometimes it can be a downfall, but it's been very good at visualizing and creating. So I believe in multiple timelines. And so even if there's a very small amount of money in my bank right now, I know that I'm just one frequency away from that shifting. So in this timeline, I may be low, but I actually deeply believe in every cell in my body. If I hold the frequency of abundance, the timeline where I have money is going to come into the matter world, into the 3D world very quickly. So I don't actually ever believe in scarcity, because I know that there's a version of me who has 10 times more money than me right now that's just one timeline away. And the only thing stopping me from getting there is the frequency that I hold. So I get clear on exactly what you were saying. What's the frequency of that timeline Kate holding? And then I hold that in every moment. And I think gratitude, the fact that I'm in always a constant state of gratitude and happiness, makes a big difference, huge difference. It's just my natural way of being. And yeah, I don't ever believe I'm out of money because I'm not, because like there's like other versions of me, like there's a billionaire version of me right now. What is the frequency and what does she look like? How does she act? How does she show up on the micro? And then that affects the macro. Very much exactly what you just described in beautiful detail is exactly the same thing that I do.
Love that. And when you're talking, if you're listening and you're not familiar, and thanks for all the love and thanks for all the comments. It's great to have each and every single one of you on here with us today. It fills my heart with joy. I know it fills Kate with joy as well.
Yes.
Thank you. And now I lost what I was going to say. Gratitude. So funny. Timelines. If you're not familiar with timelines, it's we have different dimensions that we live in. You've got the 3D reality, which is what we live in now. Then you have the 4D, 5D, and it goes up 12D, and I think it goes beyond 12D as well. So it goes so far, and 12D is like is where most people can go to, and then it's infinite. So I think from that, when Kate's talking about parallel realities, from my learnings around different dimensions, it's like you're in this reality now, and your past self is in a different reality and dimension. Your future self is out there, and whatever you think and feel and desire for yourself, you can create that version of you, and by the thought process of that reality of you goes into the dimension, and when you're able to open up to call in that version of you, you will. And that's
correct.
Holding the frequency,
the
vibration, trust, all of it. Yes,
because it's all happening now. That's the thing. Like there is no future or past. It's all happening now. The only thing stopping you is the frequency in which you're holding to bring it into the here and the now. So it's already existing, which is exciting. It's amazing. Like the Gary Vee thing for me, like I visualized hanging out with Gary Vee and us being friends for like 6 months. Like I was having dreams about it. I would visualize, because I listened to him every single morning. Like at the gym, I listened to him walking to the gym. Like I take notes. Like he's been I felt like I knew him before I met him. And then lo and behold, I got an invitation to apply for this mastermind. I was in Nepal at the time. They rang me. I didn't have my SIM in. I thought I'd missed it. Then I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not this time. Maybe it's the next one. I go to the Success Resources. I run into my friend Krista, who's going. She's like, I said, I've missed my chance. Oh, well, next time. She's like, no, my friend is the one enrolling people. Why don't I get on a call with him and he can see if he can get you in? And I was like, brilliant. And then I got in. So it was like, but that had been without me realizing I manifested that. It wasn't intentional, which is probably why it happened, because I had no attachment. Yeah, none at all. Yeah.
Look, we got P on as well.
Hey, P.
Hello, lots of love, Kristen. Wow. Kristen, Kate was the reason, the climatic piece for me to get to Bridge. So it was
Yeah.
For those that are on, Preston Smiles is extraordinary, and his beautiful wife, Alexi Panos. Both Kate and I have deep dived into Bridge and Bridge Extreme. It is one of the biggest game changers that I've experienced in my life. And I remember when I was teetering on the edge of whether I'd go or not, and man, was I resistant for most of that until like the last day or something of Bridge Extreme. I messaged Kate and I'm like, Kate, really? What do you think about this? And she said, Bridge Extreme changed everything for me. She said, where I am now is because of Bridge Extreme. And I was like, that was enough for me. Because I'd seen Kate's journey. I'd seen the last 2 years of what's happened. And I was like, I want that. I desire that next level. And it shook me up in ways that I never expected. Things I never saw before. And I love that, right? We don't necessarily see the ego and the stories it plays out. And you definitely get to see all of it at Bridge. So
all of it.
No,
every single bit.
I had a moment and we were sitting in our group and I just lost it, right? There's like 6 of us or something, and I've just got up and I'm ready to walk out the door, and here's Preston standing there, and I'm like, I didn't even acknowledge him. I've gone straight past him, almost through him, but like, he's come and he's grabbed me just before I walked out the door. He says to me, if you don't like the feedback that you're being given, it's okay, you don't have to take them. He says, it's not about the feedback. I was so angry. And he's like, he said something to me. He was so good. And I'm like, I'm not here to be friends with everybody. I don't care what everybody else is going through. I was like ranting full on. And he said something to me which changed so much in my life, so pivotal. Don't know if he knows this. I don't know if he's still on, but it was a pivotal moment in my life. And he said to me, I said, I'm here for me, not here for everybody else. And he said, well, fucking own it. And it was like, because I'd been playing in that victim of, like, poor me, and you know, people are talking about me not being a part of everything, and people aren't feeling like I was fully in it. And in that moment, it was like, well, if I just own it, then I wouldn't have all that attachment with it. I wouldn't have everything going on with that. And so now, from that point forward, with that is just own it. Yeah. If you don't want to be around people,
that is amazing.
It was so cool.
And like, Preston's the master at that. Like, so I used to be so scared of Pete, and like, he used to scare the shit out of me because he owned exactly how he felt. He's so authentic and so in his truth that if he feels like being quiet, he will be quiet. If he feels like being hyped up, he'll be hyped up. And for me, that had this intrinsic, like, people pleasing, have to like kind of mold to my environment and entertain everybody and make them like me, like, that was so confronting. And like, he was my permission slip for that. Like, you were my permission slip to talk about money and spirituality. And him and Alexi were like the foundation of everything. They were my lead domino. They gave me the push. I honestly doubt I would be here right now without them. They literally changed my life. So if you're not following them, go and follow them. And P has a course coming out for entrepreneurs as well.
Amazing.
If you go to his page, you'll be able to see it. It's a really incredible opportunity. So get on that shit now. Yeah.
And I know they're in LA doing Bridge and Bridge Extreme in October. I don't know the dates, but I have a friend that's looking at going as well. And they come to Australia usually once a year. Just depends on a few things, I think, for next year. But highly recommend going. That's will turn everything you know on your head and crack you open in ways to move forward in ways you haven't before. And I think what I see in that is, as the people who take part in that, they do crack and they do go on bigger journeys. And I met, you know, everyone from Conscious Leaders there. Like, you never know. I was so resistant. I so wanted to leave that space. I was like, why would anyone want to work with me after my experience in that space? Because I spent a lot of it in Victor. And unbeknown to me, you know, it was really interesting, because that's the thing, right? With the ego, we can't see what's going on with us. And it's when somebody can bring it forward for us, and that's what Preston and Alexi do so well, is what they've set up in their container, is you get to see those things. You get to see those things that people don't tell you about you. You get to see those behaviors and those patterns that play out, that hold you back and keep you playing small. And you will see those parts of you. You cannot not see those things. And when you see them, it's beautiful, because you cannot go back to that.
Yes, it's so true. It's a brutal mirror without the medicine. The medicine's a brutal mirror. It's so Bridge Extreme.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, amazing. Such cool conversation. So, Kate, what's something, let's finish up on something that's really on your heart at the moment from a from an internal perspective, like something that not that the rest of the world may see with you, like what's going on in Kate's heart that's driving Kate at the moment, that lights you up other than your pooches, that's inspiring you at the moment?
It's actually kind of what we've spoken about, is giving presence and kindness to as many people as I physically possibly can. And that means answering every Facebook comment. That means if somebody asks me for a call, getting on a call. That means literally just giving an abundance of presence, because I deeply care about people, like so much. And I want to give from a place without expectation of them having to work with me or having to come from my retreats. You know, it's really important to me that people feel seen, and because through that, I'm hoping I can be a reflection to them of what's already in them, and then they pay that forward. To me, that's a win. If no one ever comes to my retreats ever again and I can accomplish that, that's a win, period.
Well, that's a nice way to finish.
Yeah.
I could talk to you for hours and hours.
Yeah, I know. Sunny Coast is going to be fun. There will be no sleeping because I'm going to keep you out talking to me all night.
Yes, I'm excited for that. I know we're going to have
me too.
So exciting. Oh, Kate, thank you so much for joining me today. And
you're
and
welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Everything you do for the planet is just, I know you are a beautiful shining light, and there's such a purity in you that's rare and beautiful and unique, and that the world needs more of. Thank you, sister, for all you be.
Thank you for all you be. Thank you for having me on and for being my permission slip. You have also played an intrinsic part in my journey and helped me so incredibly. I can't wait to squeeze you very soon.